Hello, and I have a quick question for you. Why does Jesus keep saying, for those who have an ear, let him hear? Is he just saying or stating the obvious, or is there a hidden message in there? Well, we talk about a nice little coincidence, or is it a fun fact that the word heart has an ear right in the middle of it, and you can't spell heart without hear. So you have hear, the ear, the T at the end, which reminds me of the cross, and you have heart. You take the two ears and you put them together and you have a heart. Fun fact or coincidence? Stay tuned. We're going to cover why Jesus keeps saying, for those who have an ear, let them hear. I'm Yolanda Dion.
In my life, you have been so good to me.
Hello and welcome back to Rooted Expressions. I'm Yolanda Dion, and we are going to be breaking down why Jesus keeps saying, for those who have ears, let them hear. Okay. First of all, he's emphasizing the importance of spiritual discernment and the willingness to listen and to understand his teachings. It's not about merely hearing the words with our physical ears, but about having an open heart to the deeper meaning and truth of his words. So we're going to break it down in examples in case you want to take notes. So let's start off with spiritual understanding. Jesus uses the phrase to highlight that not everyone is receptive to his message. Some may physically hear his words, but their hearts are closed to the spiritual truth. And the next one is called openness. Openness and readiness. Openness and readiness of what he's saying. So he who has ears to hear refers to those who are open to receiving and understanding God's message. They are receptive to the truth, and the willingness to take action is what this is based on. Okay? So openness and readiness. The next one is the contrast with physical hearing. So he who has an ear, Jesus' contrast of the physical hearing with spiritual hearing. The two together, or the difference, is pointing out that one can physically hear but not understand or accept the truth. I mean, the other may truly hear it, understand it, and they respect and accept. Because there's a call to action when you truly hear and understand the word. So that's the next step, is the call to action. So the phrase is a call to listen attentively, not just with the physical ears, but with the heart. It encourages people to pay close attention to the words they are hearing and to consider their meaning. Not just hear it and go on about your day. This is literally hearing it, and it encourages us so that we will pay attention. And then we consider the meaning of what it's saying. And there are rewards to those who listen. So that's our next one. The rewards for those who listen. Jesus often follows this phrase with promises or rewards. So he doesn't just say it, he's letting us know what comes to those who listen. For example, in Mark 4:24, he says, pay attention to what you hear. With this message you use, it will be measured to you and still more will be given. So he says, with the measure you use, it will be measured to you and still more will be given to you. That's saying that pay attention to what you hear, because with the measure that you hear and use, it will be measured to you with even more will be given to you. In the Bible, ears often symbolize hearing and obedience. They come together when you hear the truth. Hearing and obedience, particularly in relation to God's words and his commandments. You put those together. The right ear, in particular, is sometimes associated with hearing and obeying God. Additionally, having ears to hear can represent a spiritual sensitivity and willingness to receive and understand God's teaching. Okay, so in essence, the concept of having ears to hear is linked to the ability to discern and then respond with God's guidance. So God is going to guide you, but when he says it, we have to hear it and then link it together with discernment to know that this is from God and then to do. It suggests a state of attentiveness and the willingness to listen, and not just with physical ears, but with the heart and the mind that's between the two ears. Okay. Now, the next one, spiritual sensitivity. Spiritual sensitivity, in that context, having ears to hear implies a heightened awareness of God's presence and the activity in the world. That's a spiritual sensitivity. It can also refer to the ability to discern the truth from deception, because he didn't want us to get deceived when we hear things in this world. So if you're hearing with your physical ears, you could easily be deceived, because remember, the author of confusion and the lies is coming from the enemy. So things that you hear may not be the things that God wanted you to hear. He wants you to have that sensitivity, and the spiritual sensitivity will alert you, and it will cause the discernment to kick in, and you'll know, okay, that's not from God. Because when you hear from the heart, you'll know this is from God. Okay? What they say about the right ear. The right ear is significant. In some instances, the right ear is highlighted, possibly due to its traditional association with the ear that would hear God's word back in ancient times. The blood being applied to the right ear during purification rituals in Leviticus 14 symbolizes purification and restoration of God's community. So that could have something to do with why it's so significant to hear on the right side. And then God's ability to hear. That's our next subject. The Bible also portrays God having ears to hear. signifying his ability to receive the petitions and the pleas of his people. So he'll say, I heard the cries of my people. It's a way for God to show and illustrate his attentiveness and concern for his people. He hears us. He hears our cry. He hears our plea. So that's something we need to know, because God is showing us what true hearing is, because he's hearing with his heart, his concern, not just I hear them and it blows in the wind and it doesn't matter, So it is important to realize that God is showing his ability to hear us also. And another reason why Jesus says, he who has ears, let him hear. He is also pointing out that there is a secretness to what he's saying to us. He doesn't plan on everybody hearing it. He's saying that there are people that just aren't going to understand. But to his people, he's saying, if you want to understand, you're going to have to hear with the heart, not just with the physical ears. Okay? Because that's the way the world hears. They don't stop to truly put it together and make sure that there's discernment or that it's coming from God. They're just hearing to hear. And then they go on their merry way. So it's not like it's some deep message that they're getting. That's why you'll find that there are things that we as Christians, we take and we look at it and say, no, that's not quite right. That's not of God. We shouldn't be doing that. Where they may look at it and say, oh, you're being too literal. It doesn't mean all that. Well, that's because they don't have the discernment that we have to know that God is saying something different to us. And he wants us to get that message. We have the good soil, so we should take it and produce a harvest by hearing the true word, by listening with the ear that's in the heart. Okay? Let's see, I can give plenty of examples, but they're pretty much going to keep saying the same thing. If you hear with the ear that's placed in the center of your heart, a good way that I look at it is when you break down that word, hear, you've got the ear in the center, and then you've got the T on the end, which I look at and it reminds me of the cross. So that heart, that's what it is. Hearing the ear with the ear that's placed in the center of the heart. Put that somewhere where you can see it and remember it. It has a significance. Otherwise, Jesus wouldn't keep saying it. But he is truly saying, for those who have that ear from the heart, hear me when I say this, so that you get understanding. Okay? Thank you guys again for joining me. Let's continue to hear with the ear that's in the heart, so that we love God, we understand God, and that we can have that discernment and we know what he's saying when he says it. I'm telling you, it blesses you when you truly get it. All right? Continue to listen. I'll keep notifying you when I have another video. I love you. God bless. All right.